say hello to the most underrated director working in Hollywood today. So Dragged Across Concrete tells the story of two cops who were suspended for excessive force and then they dip their toe into the criminal world to keep their financial situation afloat. It's finally here! I think this movie has been on my most anticipated films for the past 2 years. It took forever to come out. So this is the new film by director S. Craig Zahler. This is the guy who brought us Bone Tomahawk, which I liked, wasn't as high on it as everybody else, but Brawl and Cell Block 99 back in 2 years ago was one of my favorite films that year, and every single time I watch it, I love it more and more. So the fact that he was coming back, Vince Vaughn was coming back, they were adding Mel Gibson to the mix, it was gonna be about dirty cops in some way, could not wait for this movie. Finally dropped online, it's right there on demand for you to watch. So before you even watch this review, you can go ahead and buy it right now, or actually rent it on Amazon, it's like $6. No brainer. On demand, check it out right now, and it's in limited theaters, but finally got a hold of this thing, watched it this weekend, and this might be my #1 movie of the year. So without further ado, let's talk about the positives regarding Dragged Across Concrete. And right out of the bat, I just want to say that this guy, S. Craig Zahler, the way that he writes his movies, the way that he directs his movies, the way that he tells his story, I love it. There's nobody else working in Hollywood that does movies like this guy. And I feel like I said in the intro, he's probably the most underrated filmmaker working in Hollywood today. I hope he gets a little bit more traction, although I love him doing kind of these smaller, like more indie pictures, but this guy just knows how to tell a story differently than anybody else I've ever seen. Like, it's very slow burn and methodical, and it includes a lot of story beats and scenes and character setups that they feel like they're superfluous whenever you're experiencing them. And then throughout the runtime of the movie, you start to realize why all these things were set up. He did the same thing in Brawl and Cell Block 99. The Brawl in Cell Block 99 never fucking comes. Cell Block 99, we don't even reach until like an hour and change into the movie. Same thing here with Dragged Across Concrete. The ultimate plot of this movie with these two cops doing this scheme to get money while they're suspended from the force doesn't really get going until an hour plus into the film. It's a 2.5 hour slow burn movie. So on paper, that sounds like a movie that you would not want to watch, but the way that this guy tells his story, the way that he sets up each individual character, including the antagonists, including side characters, it's just brilliant. The way that it all plays out is just something that you have to see because it's just unlike any other filmmaker that's working today. Moving on from that, all of the acting, all of the casting choices, just A+ across the board. Mel Gibson, I fucking love this guy. I know he's had a rough past. I know he's got a lot of people out there that still haven't quite forgiven him for him losing his mind a little bit. He feels like he's starting to get out of Hollywood jail, and this is a movie where his strengths as an actor are utilized perfectly for what this character requires. Same thing with Vince Vaughn. Like, they have a really good dynamic with each other. They're similar, but they're very different. Like, Mel Gibson is the more grizzled, a little bit more, cynical, a little bit more tired than Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn is like the guy that's dipped his toe into a little bit of excessive force here and there, but he's still like morally knows where the line is drawn and doesn't quite want to cross it. Mel Gibson doesn't give a fuck about lines, and it's a really cool dynamic that they have to where they're not full-on bad guys, they're not full-on good guys, they have a good chemistry with each other, and even though they're not like the most morally like commendable people in the world, you still want to see them kind of play their story out, and you just want to see them succeed just because they're so enjoyable to watch with each other. And then it goes all the way through to like the villains. The villains, you don't really get to know a whole lot about them other than the fact that they're scary as fuck. This movie just shows you how violent and how brutal and how unforgiving these guys are, and that's all you need to know. That is the only piece of information you need for their place in this story. You don't need to know their backstory, you don't need to know their character names, you don't need to know what their face looks like for some of them. You just need to know that these guys will fuck shit up in a moment's notice if it comes down to it. And as the movie plays out, it does a great job at utilizing them, at building tension, which is something else I'm about to get into.
There's a reason I'm sitting behind this desk running things, and you're out there with a partner that's 20 years younger than you.
Hey, Anthony's got a mouth with his own engine, but he's solid.
I'm thinking about the kind of future I can offer my girlfriend.
Oh yeah, building tension. This movie does it in spades. So many sequences, especially towards like the last half of this film, after you've seen all the pieces set up, and you start to see everything kind of falling into place for this third act. You have multiple times where you're watching sequences where Sometimes there's things going on, sometimes nothing's happening. Sometimes there's music, sometimes there's no music, but there's always this kind of sense of dread. There's always this impending doom, like this feeling that something's about to go terribly wrong throughout the entire last half of this film. Every single time, like, there's more character interactions or there's something going on or the situation gets a little bit more sticky, you're just gritting your teeth like, something's gonna happen. I know it. And you're right sometimes, you're wrong sometimes. And that's a great way to build tension and keep tension, is that it's not obvious when things are about to go wrong, but it always feels like it's around the corner. And there's actually quite a few scenes in this that happen so suddenly that they will shock you. Like one in particular, I'm not gonna spoil. I actually texted a few of my friends that have seen this movie before I did and was like, holy shit, that scene. And they're like, yeah, bro. Like there's a scene where it happens and I was just like, oh, fuck. Woo, that just happened. And the last thing that I really need to praise in this film is the dialogue. The dialogue in this is gold, start to finish. Like, it's not Tarantino style dialogue, but like how Tarantino's dialogue is kind of the star of his films. That's the way that this is. And that's kind of the way that Brawl in Cell Block 99 was as well. That's one of those kind of director and writer features that S. Craig Zahler has, is that he just has the ability to write really sharp, interesting, and captivating dialogue. And it's like, there's scenes like between Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson when they're talking to Don Johnson, who is like their captain who's getting ready to suspend them. And they're having this conversation about like coffee and pumpernickel bread and a diner down the street that like is totally unrelated to what's actually going on in the scene. But the dialogue just flows so well and is so entertaining and at times really funny that the whole movie, you're just captivated by everybody that's talking. Like when the villains start talking about things, you're captivated. When some of the side characters are talking about things, you're like, man, this is just like, this dialogue is awesome. And that's just not something you see very often outside of a Tarantino film. You don't really see a director or a film where the dialogue is kind of like the engine that keeps the movie going. And that's absolutely a fact with Dragged Across Concrete.
We have the skills and the right to acquire proper compensation.
Now, as far as negatives, I really don't have any full-blown negatives at all. I think this is a brilliant movie. I do have one thing that I'm a little bit mixed on though, and it's kind of just more so a warning for everybody watching, like what type of movie fan you are, what your patience level is, what your speed of like attentiveness is in a movie. This movie is a very slow burn, and it's nearly 3 hours long. So the rewatchability on this film might not be so high. Like I will tell you right now, even with one watch, I do prefer Brawl in Cell Block 99. I think that movie has much more rewatchability and it has much more of a pace to it than Dragged Across Concrete does. I love the way that they utilize the pacing and they utilize the time and everything, and they utilize the runtime of the 2.5 hour plus to tell all the different storylines to all come together at a head in this third act. I wouldn't take anything out of this film, but as a full whole experience, it is something that it's probably going to be something I'm really going to have to be in the mood to watch, to have a rewatch session with. Whereas Brawl in Cell Block 99 or a film like that, I can just throw in because I'm in the mood to see it. So know who you are. If you're somebody that really likes slow burns and you can sit there for 2.5, 3 hours without picking up your cell phone or walking out of the room or getting bored or getting fidgety or anything like that, this is absolutely the movie for you. If you're somebody that struggles to get through a 90-minute film, this is a movie that you're probably not going to get out of what I got out of it. So just know who you are.
A single red ant could have eaten it faster.
But in the end, guys, like I said, this probably is my favorite movie of the year so far. It's competing very heavily with Glass. Glass has like that lead up and that anticipation for like almost 2 decades. This is a film that I've been waiting for 2 years, but it just delivers so much of what I wanted and exceeded so much that I'm struggling with it, but it's damn good. Damn good. If this is the type of film that you're in the mood for, if you like this guy's previous work, if you like the actors involved, if the storyline that I presented in front of you sounds like something you want to check out, stop right now, please, and check this movie out. So if you're a fan of cop thrillers, the work of S. Craig Zahler, the work of Mel Gibson or Vince Vaughn, or you just want to see something that's very different as far as the way that the story is told, drop everything and check this thing out right now. Like I said, it's on Amazon Instant Video for like $6, but whenever you're done streaming it, whenever this thing finally drops onto the shelves, go out and buy it. So what did you guys think of Dragged Across Concrete? Did you enjoy this movie as much as I did? Did you feel bored? Did you prefer one of his previous works like Brawl in Cell Block 99 or Bone Tomahawk? Do you think Mel Gibson is just slowly getting out of Hollywood jail and you want to see him do more stuff like this? Do you want to see S. Craig Zahler get bigger budgets and bigger movies? Or you want to see him kind of stay small scale like this little treasure that only a few of us really know about? Let me know down in the comment section below what you think about Dragged Across Concrete, guys, and we will talk about it. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. If you guys want to check out some social media links, you can check out Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spreadshirt down below. Spreadshirt, Cody Leach t-shirts, other cool merchandise designed by the great Woody Bowen, as well as my Patreon. That is also down below. It's a great way to give back to this channel and help this channel grow while getting cool exclusive content for your eyes only if you decide to become a patron. So check all that out, guys. And if you want to check out some more of my videos, you can check all that out by clicking right over here.